What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2023 Kia Stinger GT2 Grand Tourer Edition. Up front is a 3.3-liter twin-turbo V6, and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Kia Stinger for two reasons. First of all, it is a special edition. This is the Grand Tourer edition of the GT2 Stinger, and so there are some special parts about that we'll talk about. But the second reason, the bigger reason, the more important reason, is the fact that Kia Stingers are no longer in production. They had a relatively short production run from 2018 to 2023. And so now that the Kia Stinger has been canceled, I always like to take a nice little retrospect on what the car was throughout its entire life and why it might have failed. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's talk about what makes the Grand Tourer Edition so special. Well, it's not anything too crazy. The package includes black exhaust tips, black fender garnish, black mirror caps, unique 19-inch wheels, and the suede interior with red stitching and red piping. So nothing really too crazy, but that's also, of course, on top of the GT2, which was the performance package, and of course comes with the bigger engine. So like I said, under the hood is a 3.3-liter twin-turbo V6. Now, you could also find these with turbo 4 cylinders. They were 2-liter engines, and I like those as well, but the 3.3-liter is most certainly what you want. It gives the Stinger a very, very healthy punch, and cruising around town, you have that low-end torque of the V6 to really enjoy yourself, but then when you want to rev it up, you can most certainly rev it up, and that is very, very nice. When you do put it into sport mode, the bolsters actually do grab your sides. So you get a little huggy hug from the Stinger. Ah. Yeah, that'll put the feeling in your stomach for sure. I love that. Like I said, paired to it is that 8-speed automatic. It's nice and responsive. It's not too noisy. It doesn't interfere all that much. And of course, I like that. Last but not least, the Kia Stinger is all-wheel drive. So how does it feel to drive the Kia Stinger? Well, it offers a very premium experience, and I think that's one of its biggest upsides, as well as one of its biggest downsides, or should I say reasons for its downfall. It drives so good and so nice, it really brings the fight to a BMW 3 Series or Mercedes, whatever they are, that seeing the Kia badge, I don't think many people wanted to be associated with the economy car company when driving a more luxury sedan. But we'll talk more about that later on. Steering is nice, it's solid and confident. The ride isn't too hard, not too soft. It is a little bit bigger car, and visibility is not one of its strong suits. However, I think it's working well here today. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have two physical gauges and a screen. Off to the left is my tachometer and coolant temperature, and off to the right is my speedometer and fuel. In the center, I do get a digital gauge that I can switch out, look at a couple different pages. Kia is usually pretty good about this. They do give you a pretty solid amount of information, and for the GT2 Tourer Special Edition, they also gave you a lot higher quality of a screen than you would find in, say, a Kia Rio. Also, something I've never seen or noticed in the Stinger is that this actually has the blind spot camera system. So when you turn on your turn signal, it actually turns on the camera like a lot of Hyundai products and more higher up Kia products do, but they actually did it for the Stinger. And I don't know if I never noticed it or if this was a new feature or what, but here it is. Very, very cool. On the steering wheel, on the left, we have our voice commands mode, volume, skip track, and favorites. And off to the right, we have our pages icon and our cruise control, which also encompasses steering assist. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent, gauge dimmer switch, lane keep assist, gas cap release, and trunk release. And moving out of the door, we have 2 levels of memory seats. You get this nice red stitching, again, part of the Grand Tourer Special Edition. And down below, we have our power mirrors, which also fold, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we do have a infotainment system. This is the more updated infotainment system. This car is less than a year old, so of course it should. And I would definitely seek this car out because of this, because obviously if you get an older Stinger, it's going to have very outdated infotainment. This is still Kia's current infotainment infotainment. So at least for the next year or so, minimum, you'll have the current infotainment. Here's the backup camera in case you're curious. Of course, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And we do have my favorite, sounds of nature. Down below that, we have more suede and red stitching, along with 3 symmetrical climate vents. Love the look of that. And of course, our radio buttons. So volume to the left, tune to the right, map, navigation, favorite, radio, media setup. Very typical Kia. Down below that, we have our climate controls. Dual zone climate here in the Kia Stinger. And I do want to point out that this was one of the main drawing points to the owner Taylor's buying the Kia Stinger, because these are physical climate controls. They're not ran through a screen. They're not their own touch screen. They're physical. And so a lot of cars are moving away from this, and the owner really wanted physical climate controls. So that was a big drawing point for the Stinger. Then we do have an openable cubby with a 12-volt outlet, USB-A, and wireless charger. And then we move on to the center console. So off to the right, we do have cup holders. We will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the Kia Stinger GT2 Grand Tour Special Edition, and it fails. Every other Kia Stinger that I've tested in the past has failed, so, you know, par for the course. To the left is the shifter. It's a pretty easy shifter to operate. Forward for reverse, back for drive, park is its own button. And we do get a giant button for our power parking brake, auto holding brake, traction control off, and our drive mode. So this is like the volume knob, which I'm not sure I like, but we do have smart, eco, comfort, sport, and custom. All of those are really, really nice. More physical buttons found down below. Again, a big win for the Stinger. And we have the heated steering wheel, parking sensors on and off, our parking camera, auto start stop on and off, and then on either side we have a rocker switch for the heated and cooled seats. I love this usage of buttons. It's one button for hot or cold. So simple. So many cars do 2 different buttons, and it's just unnecessary when this works so well. So I'm happy to see that. Then we do get a center console, and we'll talk about the seats. Like I said, the seats are part of that special edition package with their suede inserts, red piping, and red stitching. And I like them. I'm 5'11", I'm not a small guy, and I fit in here pretty happily, so I don't have any complaints. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2023 Kia Stinger GT2 Grand Tour Special Edition, and a couple of things to note. First of all, red seat belts back here, the suede inserts and red stitching and piping carry on back here as well. Not all manufacturers, when they do special seats up front, always carry it on to the back. GM! Sorry, I coughed. GM doesn't do that. Anyway, Kia Stinger does. I fit back here pretty well. This is my driving position. Knees aren't hitting the seat. Head's not hitting the ceiling. I do have heated seats back here as well. Very nice features in the back of the Kia Stinger. I also get 2 climate vents back here, a 12-volt outlet, and a USB-A charger. So really, really sweet features for the rear seat occupants. I could go on a road trip back here pretty happily, and I wouldn't complain too much. And I do like to complain. Ask my girlfriend. I love complaining, so... Anyway, let's hop into the very back. We'll talk about the trunk, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, we're on the back of the Kia Stinger. Press and hold. And it actually has a power liftgate, which is really, really cool. I always forget that this actually has a liftgate. Very cool, very Audi A5. Once we are back here, as you can see, tons and tons of space. This is another huge drawing point for the Kia Stinger, is how much cargo space it has. Really, really cool. We have a fuel filler thing there, floor mat, things like that, tools, whatnot, all of that. So really, really cool space. And then you come up here, press the button, and it is a power operated tailgate back down. Absolutely love that. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I love this slate gray. I do think it's a very modern color. It is a little sort of, you know, clear coat on primer looking at times, but I honestly don't hate it. I also drove an IS 500 in this color, and I liked that as well, so I don't think it's very bad. I've always liked the way that the Stinger looked, and in 2021, they actually facelifted the Stinger to give it a little bit different headlights, taillights, and things like that, and so it was only a 2-year update, which is kind of weird for Kia to do, but that's what they did, and overall, I've always liked the look of the Stinger, and I'm happy to see that here today. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think being back behind the wheel of another Kia Stinger? This time, the final model year. Well, this car is absolutely wonderful, and everyone that I know that's owned a Stinger or driven a Stinger has had only positive things to say. This car was great, and it really truly competed with the luxury cars of this segment. Like I said, a BMW 3 Series, of course not comparing the M3 competition, remix, whatever they call them these days, but true 3 Series to Stinger, I would probably take the Stinger for a little bit of a discount. It drives in a very similar way. It has a very confident drive like the BMWs do. And so, honestly, if it were my money on the table, I would take the Stinger all day. So with everyone praising it, myself included, why did Kia kill this car off? What could it have possibly been? It's really good. Well, I think it was the right car for the wrong manufacturer. Kia, as many of you know, is known better for their more economical cars. Now, I'm not saying that they don't have luxurious cars. I just drove the Kia EV9 and it had massage seats in it and it was very comfortable and very nice. But when it comes to a sporty car, people that buy these kind of know a thing or two about cars in general. They don't like being associated with the Kia name. A lot of people debadge these cars to hide that fact. And so what this ends up being is like McDonald's pizza. Pizza is great. I love pizza. Everyone loves pizza. But when McDonald's tried to do it, you don't get your pizza from McDonald's. There was too much competition and no one wanted to associate their pizza with the fast food burger chain. So it didn't last long on the menu and they took it off. That's what happened here. Kia built a really good sports sedan, but because of their following, because of their brand identity, and because of the preconceived notions that buyers had, it didn't sell all that well. And when something doesn't sell, manufacturers fail to continue to make them. And so that's what happened here. This car is very, very good. It's just not a good Kia, which is why the G70 sells so well for Genesis, because that's an upscale car and Genesis was a new company. So either way, huge thank you to Taylor for letting me take out his 2023 Kia Stinger GT2 Grand Tour Special Edition. Taylor has been absolutely awesome. I also reviewed his MX-5 that was supercharged earlier today. I mean, what a wonderful vehicle that was. Taylor has been absolutely wonderful to work with, truly top-notch, and I appreciate him very, very much. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.